What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to a brand spanking new episode of Worlds TV. If you guys new, make sure you follow us at Worlds TV on X and Instagram, on Worlds TV on TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and turn on that bell notification right at the top to stay up to date with recent content on this channel. And today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump being forced to send over 2,000 National Guards to calm down the violent riots that are happening in Los Angeles, California right now as we speak. And as you all know, the mainstream news channel is going to do whatever they can to turn this around, to gaslight you guys, and to give you as much misinformation as possible to feed into their disgusting propaganda that Donald Trump is a dictator and that they are doing everything in their power to stop him. Meanwhile, they are the cause of their own problems. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you guys this question. You have Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass and even Kamala Harris came out and said that these are peaceful protests and that Donald Trump sending the National Guard there is only insinuating and inciting more violence. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you guys this question. What about this is peaceful? What about this is peaceful? What about flames in the background and people standing on cars that have been burned to the ground is peaceful? Ladies and gentlemen, what about this is peaceful? What about this is peaceful? Where you have a guy standing on a destroyed, burned cop car, waving a Mexican flag in the air. What about this is peaceful? Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you this question again, sounding like a broken record. What about this is peaceful when you have protesters that are literally looting stores? Looting stores. Take a look.
Exploiting it for their own ends, like people you see here that are looting this store. They're stealing sneakers and they're going to be selling them. And they're being caught on video from various locations on both sides of the street. And so there's a good chance that their faces will be recognized.
So, wow, you have rioters stealing stores and going to sell them and make a profit as peaceful protests. I ask you this question again. What about these riots are peaceful? Take a look at burning cars and footages.
It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of...
As if it already hasn't gotten volatile. What about burning cars is peaceful? The fact that that fucking anchor on ABC News LA had the nerve to say that is disgusting and despicable.
People having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation.
People having fun watching cars burn, he says, is form of peaceful protest. Now, how would you feel if that was your car being burned to the ground, being disintegrated? You wouldn't have that same sentiment. I ask you guys this question again. What about this is peaceful protest? Wow. So watching cars and engulfing cars in flames and infernos is peaceful protest. Now, this is the message that the Democrats are telling you, that Democratic lawmakers, that Democrat political leaders, especially in California, are telling you. What about this is peaceful, ladies and gentlemen? Here you go.
They're looting. Can I get a new pair of shoes too?
So destroying stores, breaking and entering into stores, stealing property that's not yours is peaceful. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you guys this question again. What about this is peaceful? You see dozens of destroyed cop cars in the middle of a highway in LA. Broken windshields, busted tires, damage done. They were fucking throwing rocks at police officers. And you have the nerve of these politicians to say that this was a peaceful protest. Are you kidding me? Really? Holy cow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you guys this question for the thousands, and the thousandth time. What about any of these images and pictures I have showed you? What about this is peaceful? Because when I think of peaceful protests, I think of people marching together, having signs, staying together, no damage, no destruction happening whatsoever. But this is peaceful. So I ask you guys the question, what about that? Watching burning cars in the streets is peaceful. What about this picture right here? Is peaceful. What about seeing protesters fighting in the middle streets
This is at LA.
of
Live.
LA
There's a
is
bike in
peaceful?
the middle of the street, and somebody is on the ground, and they are attacking that person.
That person in that mini bike, right?
Yeah, and I can't tell. I don't know where that. Did they get up? I can't tell for
No,
sure.
Yeah, they
there's
got
somebody-
up
yeah,
and
someone's swinging
someone's
again.
coming back and swinging on them again.
Ugh.
They're gonna try to break it up there.
And this is that LA Live.
And you can see at the bottom of the ticker, LAPD declares unlawful assembly. Are you fucking kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, what about this? It's peaceful. This was taken. You see a solo counter protester at an anti-ICE ride in downtown LA said her family was killed by undocumented immigrants and she was assaulted multiple times, May struck with bottles, punched, kicked, and run over by bicyclists. Yet you have these idiot fucking politicians going on air and saying that there's nothing but peaceful protests. I've showed you time after time after time again from images, pictures, and videos. What about these are peaceful? Take a look right here. You have, look at that, they're burning. They're burning police vehicles. I think you guys get the gist. You guys get the images and pictures of what's going on here. And what boggles my mind, and this is how disgusting, despicable, and gaslighting that these politicians have become. You got this idiot, Governor Gavin Newsom, is doing more tweeting and actually taking actions to stop these violent riots from happening in his own fucking state that he was elected to govern. This is what he had to say. He took to Twitter/X, said Donald Trump has manufactured a crisis and is in flaming conditions. If he can't solve it, we will. Two bad actors fueling Trump's flames. California will hold you accountable. This is the same guy, the same Governor Gavin Newsom again, who took to Twitter to saying that he doesn't give a damn if Trump's border czar is threatening to arrest him for speaking out and saying, hey, come get me. And it won't stop him from standing up for Californians. Take a look what he had to say.
The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn, but I care about my community. I care about this community.
It's funny how he says he cares about his community. He cares about this community. Yeah, he's the same guy who couldn't even make sure that LA fire hydrants were filled with water and watch his residence home be burned to the ground. Meanwhile, his home was untouched. This is the same guy who was able to afford a $9 million house in LA while he's only making about $130,000 as a governor or so. This is the same guy who could even make sure that the LA water reservoirs were turned on so that firefighters can do their job and put out fires. But yeah, he wants to come out and say that I'm standing up for Californians. This is the same guy who has yet given out any type of consequences to these disgusting insurance companies for purposely canceling thousands of homeowners insurance just months before the LA wildfires. But he wants to sit up there and says, I'm standing up for my community in California. Are you fucking serious? California has a pattern saying anytime something happens in their state that they're too damn incompetent to do, their thing is let's blame Trump. California wildfires, blame Trump. Empty reservoirs, blame Trump. California's $12 billion budget deficit, blame Trump. And now the riots that are happening in LA, blame Trump. You see, this is the thing that I find funny. The riots happened June 6th. That's when these protests became violent. June 7th was when Trump said, hey, you know what? You guys are not going to do anything about it. I gave you a whole 24 hours. You're seeing the same exact pictures we're seeing. We're seeing the looting. We're seeing the destruction. We're seeing the fights. We're seeing the burning vehicles to the ground. We're seeing the destruction of properties, stores, breaking and entering. And yet you have Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom refusing to do a damn thing about it. Why? Because they want this to happen. They want to watch LA burn to the ground because their multi-million-dollar homes are well protected. They're going to say, hey, let the community that they claim to care about, let it be destroyed. The same Karen Bass who flew out of the country by the time the LA wildfires were happening, came back on U.S. soil, and she got grilled and asked questions by reporters. Where were you? How come there were no water in the fire hydrants? How come there was not a lot of, police activity? A lot of, what happened with the budget? With the firefighter department budget? Why'd you slash that in half? And she looked like a deer in the headlights. Can't even answer a goddamn question. Trump gave Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass a day to say, hey, these are not protests anymore. These are riots. This is violent. Calm it down, or else I will send in the National Guard to do so. And if you don't believe me right here, since everybody wants to is AI friendly, this is what Grok said from AI. Yes, it turned violent. LA protesters began turning violent on June 6th when demonstrations against ICE raided escalates into streets. Riots reports indicate that protesters clashed with LAPD and ICE agents and getting acts such as throwing bricks, setting fires, looting, and 20 arrests were made that day. The violence continued and escalated over the following days with significant incidents on June 7th in Paramount and Compton during additional raids. However, the deployment of the National Guards did not occur on June 8th. Instead, 2,000 National Guard troops were deployed to LA on June 7th as ordered by President Donald Trump. The deployment was authorized under a presidential memorandum citing that the need to protect federal agents and properly amid violent protests threatening ICE operations. There you have it. Especially too when you have protesters blocking the 101 freeway, setting the Wayman driverless cars on fire, threw concrete and bottles at police, leading to arrests. By this time, the National Guard was already deployed, with initial reports of 300 troops mentioned in some sources, though the total deployment was 2,000 per the federal order. It does not take a genius to say, you know what, this is not safe. People could get hurt. People have gotten hurt. This is no longer a protest. It's a riot. And for you idiots out there on Twitter talking about, oh, Donald Trump doesn't have the right to deploy the national troops. Oh, my God. He's a Marxist. He's an anarchist. He's the second coming of Hitler. He's so evil. He's this and that. Yes, he fucking does. Why do you think he's called the commander-in-chief? His job is to command the armed forces if he sees fit, where he sees fit, if it deems the situation is dangerous and people could get seriously hurt, if not killed. Do people just all of a sudden forget that Ronald Reagan deployed the national troops back then to California? What is going on here? How stupid have we become? And I'm just looking. Look, I'm gonna pull up this tweet from Newsom. I tell you guys, you can't make this shit up. Newsom, again, who's been busy more on Twitter than helping his own people out in California. He said he joined the LAPD headquarters and LAS headquarters and state emergency officials in LA as we respond to protests provoked by chaos by Washington. We're here to keep peace. He literally posted this photo, as you could tell in the background, whereas he's watching shit getting burned to the ground, protesters becoming violent, as he's watching cars, streets getting destroyed, businesses getting destroyed, people getting beaten up, people breaking and entering into the stores. He has the nerve to tweet this, talk about we are trying to keep the peace. Motherfucker, you had a whole 24 hours to keep the peace. You damn near had 2 days to keep the peace. How in the hell can you tweet something like this as you're watching the destruction of your city in real time? Good God almighty, you can't make this nonsensical bullshit up. And for people who do not know the law, am I a fan of what Donald Trump has been doing with the whole immigration? For the most part, yes, because it is not fair to have people come here illegally and yet they're getting everything free under the sun. That's not right. That's not right. Now, some of the things that he has done with, overseeing and not having a due process, I'm not a fan of that. I totally disagree with that 100%. If you don't like it, hardcore MAGA, suck my fucking dick. I could give two shits. Because everybody deserves due process. Everybody. That's what the court system was founded on. You are innocent until proven guilty. But the laws in the United States are the laws, and therefore federal immigration laws usurp and outweigh state immigration laws. A quick and easy Google search will give you that exact answer, especially Google AI overview. It says it right there. Yes, federal immigration laws generally outweigh state immigration laws due to Supreme Court clause of the United States Constitution. It's right there highlighted for you. So if you come into any 50 states of the United States here illegally, whether you're in California, Nebraska, Arkansas, Memphis, New York, Jersey, it is still on USA soil, and therefore federal law usurps state laws. This is why the protests happening. Donald Trump was mass deportation because, hey, if you came to this country illegally, you got to go back. Blue states like New York, like California says, no, we're not going to help Trump do his mass deportations. Okay, fine. Trump, whether you like it or not, has the power to deport people. That's in the United States Constitution. That's in his executive branch. He has the power to do that. And so since states were not cooperating with his deportation efforts, that's why you see these protests. It is everybody's right to protest. I'm all for protests. I'd probably be protesting with them right there because some of the stuff that I've seen Trump doing has been unlawful in terms of due process. But it still doesn't take away the fact that he has the right to do that. States not helping him or not cooperating with his deportation efforts, it's a violation. And he can sue you for that. Federal government can hold excessive authorization over that. And since they're choosing not to cooperate, he's going to say, well, I'm just going to arrest him anyway. He's going to send ICE to arrest him anyway, whether you like it or not. But you cannot claim that these are peaceful protests when it's not. These are not peaceful. The media continues to gaslight and lie to people, talk about, oh, well, the minute Donald Trump sent in the national troops, that's when it became violent. Motherfucker, it became violent June 6th. Karen Bass and Governor Newsom had 2 full days to do something about this and say, hey, we got to send out LAPD or some type of, enforcement to calm down this because this is getting out of hand. Cars are being burned to the ground. People are looting stores. Destruction is happening everywhere. And since they didn't do a damn thing about it, the president took matters into his own hands, which he has every right to do so, whether you like it or not. That's why, again, he's called the commander-in-chief. He can command the armed forces anytime he sees fit if he sees that it's a dangerous situation. And he deemed that that was a dangerous situation with the destruction happening in the streets of LA because their fucking political leaders refuse to do anything about it. As they're watching the destruction and the chaos on television, just like you and I. Everybody has TVs nowadays. You can't tell me that was anything about that was peaceful. If you do, you're fucking retarded. Like, what are we talking about here, guys? This is crazy. But Gavin Newsom can deploy the National Guards for COVID-19 testing back in 2022, but refuse to send the National Guards now in 2025 as he's watching his city burn to the ground. Refuse to send a National Guard help during the LA wildfires, I believe. But now he wants to say, oh, it's Donald Trump. It's the orange man. It's his fault. No, you should have fucking calmed down that protest. Keep it contained. Keep it from turning violent. And all it takes is one idiot, one dumbass to automatically turn a peaceful protest into a violent protest. And now there's been rumors and reports out there that some of these protesters, these anarchists, these insurrectionists were paid by the government, were paid up by the Democrats to continue to paint, immigrants in a bad picture? Could there be a possibility? Hell yeah, I'm not counting anything out. I think so. But we cannot continue to listen to the mainstream media. I am all for peaceful protests. It is your 100% constitutional right to protest anything that you do not like to see fit, as long as it remains peaceful. This is not peaceful. This is violent. This is violent. Destruction of property, destruction of human beings, thievery, looting is not peaceful. And so action had to be taken, because there was little to no action during the LA wildfires. There was little to no action to the insurance companies who canceled thousands of homeowners insurances just months before the LA wildfires happening. You guys are more mad at Donald Trump for a state that he has little control over than your own governor, than the mayor. If the media tells you, hey, your life sucks all because of Donald Trump, you're going to believe them. If the media tells you that the asteroid's about to hit planet Earth and it's all because of Donald Trump's fault, you're going to believe him. I understand that it is a popular thing to not like this guy. I don't know how popular, because he won the fucking election. But especially on the left, it's popular to not like this guy. And I'm on that list. I do not like Trump personally. I don't. But you can't keep blaming everything on him just because CNN and MSDNC told you so. This is why Twitter/X is the #1 trusted news source out there. Because why? You have people who are there in person documenting this stuff and posting it for the entire world to see, saying, no, what the media is telling you is a lie. These protests were violent before the National Guard, before troops got deployed. They got deployed as a response because of LA's lack of enforcement to keep those protests from getting violent. Trump gave Newsom and Bass a warning, say, yo, you got a day or two to calm this shit down. If you don't, it is well within his right to send in the National Guard troops to do something about it. Well within his right. Nothing about these photos that I'm seeing right now is peaceful. Smoke, burnings, looting, destruction, fire. Nothing about this is peaceful. That is somebody's fucking car that is destroyed, disintegrated. What about that? What about destruction of property is peaceful, guys? And shout out to what is it, Grok, which is an AI software on the app. You just ask the question and answer you right away. So, guys, there you have it. Listen, I get it. Okay, this administration has done some good things, has done some bad things, but we cannot sit here and fall to, well, Trump this, Trump that, Trump's fault, Trump's fault. No, it is the protesters who became violent. Their stupid actions were the ones who caused the National Guard to be called in. If they kept it peaceful, there would have been no need, in my opinion, for the National Guard to be called. And if they were still called while the protests were peaceful, then Donald Trump is 100% in the wrong. And we have every reason to be mad at him, because then he would have escalated something there was no need to escalate. But it was multiple reports confirmed the escalation already happened before they got there. So they were sent there to de-escalate it. It's crazy. But yes, 18 U.S. Code 2383, rebellion and insurrection. Whoever incites, sets, or foot, assists, and engages in any rebellion, insurrection against the authority of the United States or Lord, therefore gives aid to comfort, therefore shall be fined under the title, or in prison not more than 10 years, or both, or shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. Now, I'm going to say this too before I head off, because this is a long video. What about the January 6th people? Because that was a full-on riot. That's not a peaceful protest. When you break and enter in a Capitol building, that you can't make any excuse for that. Hardcore MAGA. What happened on January 6th is a total disgrace. This is more violent because they were destroying properties. But when you're breaking and entering a place you are not authorized to be in, that falls under the category of a riot, of an insurrection. And therefore, everybody who committed those crimes on that day, January 6th, 2021, deserves jail time. They deserve jail time. Yes. And for people saying, well, Donald Trump didn't call, the National Guard on that. Well, hell, Nancy Pelosi, she didn't call the National Guard, the troops, for January 6th. And it's video documentation that she did it. It's video documentation that she did it. So your same anger that you have for Donald Trump on that day, rightfully so. Where's your same anger for Nancy Pelosi, where she refused to call the troops, the National Guard, any type of law enforcement on January 6th? And if you don't believe me, here's the video right here for you guys.
Responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
there's not a question of how they had, but they don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
You hear what she said? I take responsibility for not having them more. Since January 6th is trending, somebody tweeted this. Do not retweet this video. Nancy Pelosi admitting full responsibility for not calling National Guard on January 6th. So the same thing as we could hold Donald Trump, for not willing to call the National Guard when those protesters became a little bit violent on January 6th. Nancy Pelosi had full authorization to call the National Guard that day to stop people from breaking and entering a Capitol, a federal building, and she refused to do so. So this just goes to show again, both politicians are fucked up. Like I said again multiple times, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm a centralist, I'm a registered independent. I don't give a fuck about neither party. So if we hold one side accountable, we have to hold the other side just as accountable as well. But that's all I got to say about that. The video went extra long that I needed to be, but there was so many layers and so many parts of this, so much footage and evidence I have to show you guys. This is just fucking ridiculous what's going on, man. Thoughts and prayers out to California, but that shit needs to be handled. It is, when you see stuff like that happening, destruction, unwanted chaos happening, something needs to be done about this. God bless those people in California who are trying to stay safe, be out the streets, but man, it's a fucking shit show over there. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Do you agree, disagree? Subscribe, like, and comment. Leave your comments down below. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms down below. I will catch you guys later. Please stay safe. God bless. Peace.